Seems like blended families are almost becoming the norm these days. Being a parent in that kind of a family has many challenges. One of them, dealing with your own feelings about an ex-partner, and then vice versa. It's even trickier when your kids seem to like and appreciate the partner, the ex-partner, more than they do you. It's all pretty tough stuff. To talk more about it, we're joined by psychologist Dr. Gans Ference, who's joining us. Nice to see you again. Welcome.
Thanks a lot.
What is the #1 most important thing for blended families and parents to remember?
Well, I think the #1 thing, well, I don't know if there's #1, but a really big thing is that, you know, no matter what the other parent does, you have to be the responsible parent, right? Somebody has to be a good role model. I think a lot of times, if one parent is underacting or overacting, let's say one parent's too lenient, the other parent will try to be too strict, or vice versa, right? Yeah. And the problem is then the child has no one that's in balance, and so they have no kind of frame of reference for what a balanced parent or a balanced household is like.
Okay, and that's important for raising the kids and having rules, and hopefully the rules are going to be similar or the same in both homes.
That would be best. That's optimal for the kids, yeah.
But at the same time, when you get a divorce, a separation of any form, there is usually, although there are exceptions, there is usually some animosity that is built up. That is very difficult for these two ex-partners to hide.
Right, right. I think, you know, both parents, regardless of what their relationship is to each other, at least they have the kids in common, and they do have the child's welfare in common, even though sometimes they may forget that and try to, you know, get into their own kind of pettiness, right? Mm-hmm. But it's very important to keep that in the forefront of what you're thinking about when you're looking at not only decisions for the child, but also how you relate to each other. Because the problem is that kids know innately that they come from half the mom and half the dad, right? So when if I spoke poorly about the child's mother, the child takes that in and makes that a part of their identity. It says, well, okay, if mom is bad, I'm half mom, then I must be bad too. So it really hampers their identity.
Or quit attacking somebody I also love.
Right, all that stuff. Well, I mean, you know, there's the anger and the stuff that will come back to the parent, but there's also the sort of lasting, more damaging self-esteem issues that get built into the child, right, based on what's being said or the attitude toward the other parent.
Still, easy for you to say.
Well,
you know, easy for me to say, sitting here in this situation, not being in somebody else's family. What if the ex-partner is just a jerk? What do you do in those kind of situations?
Again, I think you start the first line of defense, I think, is always communication. You go and you speak with that individual, trying to help them see that the child's benefit and welfare is what's paramount, right? If that doesn't work, then you
are you criticizing my parenting? Do you think I don't care about my...
Well, hey, you know what? If that doesn't work, we can go the other route, right? I mean, if we're, you know, we'll get the lawyers involved and go that route, we'll do whatever we need to do, but somebody has to be responsible for the child's well-being. You know, if it's a safety issue, especially, right, they have to jump in there and do what they need to do. Either visitations could be limited or supervised or whatever it might be, but somebody has to take the responsibility to look after the child's welfare.
And with some of that stuff, you really need to try and shield your children, and we're talking about any age. You know, just because someone, you know, the ex has said something really hurtful to me, I don't need to share that with the kids.
Exactly, right, and I don't need to attack back, especially through the kids or in front of the kids. Again, it goes back to the self-esteem issue and the identity issue that the kids will have if they feel that, you know, part of them, or in this case, if both parents are fighting, they're getting all this negativity of, you know, both sides of them, right? So is there any good in me at all, basically? You know,
they're both horrible, so therefore I must be as well.
Exactly.
What about the scenario where you end up having one parent who's a primary caregiver, and the other one is less likely to see them as often, but tends to spoil in that kind of a situation? Now, if you're the primary caregiver, I think if you're the spoiler, you should just stop spoiling. But if you're the primary caregiver, what strategies do you suggest for being able to deal with that kind of a situation? Kids can come home and then go, you never let me do anything.
That's right. It is very difficult. It is very difficult. I think, you know, again, the really important thing to think about is what's in the best interest of the child. Don't get into a competition with the other parent. You're not going to be able to win that, because if you're the custodial parent, you have the children most of the time. Your job, you're going to be stuck with the job of the hard parenting, right? You got to set the limits, you got to be consistent, you got to do all that other stuff. So you don't always come across as a fun one. But you can build fun into your life with the kids, so there's nothing wrong with that. Don't try to, like, overcompensate. If this one's, you know, like I said, you know, Disneyland every weekend or whatever, okay, well, when you're here, we're laying down the law. That doesn't work. You've got to be balanced. You've got to build in some fun, build in some excitement, but do it from a place of what is right and what is best for my family and this household versus, well, you know, so-and-so did this, so now I got to do this. right? So,
lines of communication too with the kids, very important.
absolutely, yeah, yeah.
Dr. Farron, thank you so much for coming in. If you want any more information on this topic, he likes to talk about a whole lot of things as well. You can go online to Alberta Psych Systems Inc. The website is www.apsilife.com. So APSILIFE.com. Thanks for coming in.